In 1850, the U.S. passed the Compromise of 18 Series, a series of laws designed to ease tensions between the free and slave states. Key provisions included the admission of California as a free state and controversial Fugitive Slave Act, which required citizens to return runaway slaves. Just a few years later, in 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act allowed settlers in those territories to decide the slavery issue through popular sovereignty. This led to a violent conflict known as Bleeding Kansas, deepening the divisions between North and South. In 1857, the Dred Scott decision by the Supreme Court ruled that African Americans were not U.S. citizens and that Congress had no authority to prohibit slavery in the territories, further polarizing the nation. Meanwhile, in the world of science and industry, 1853 saw Henry Bessemer patent a new method for producing steel, revolutionizing manufacturing and paving the way for the U.S. Industrial Revolution. In literature, 1851 marked the publication of the Herman Melville's Moby Dick, a masterpiece that explored themes of ambition, nature, and the human condition. In 1859, Edwin Drake drilled the first successful oil well in Titusville, Pennsylvania, marking the growth for petroleum industry and transforming the American economy. The year before, in 1852, Harriet Beecher Stowe's The Uncle Tom's Cabin exposed the brutal realities of slavery, galvanizing the abolitionist movement and heightening sectional tensions. That same year, New York City's Central Park was founded, reflecting the growing importance of public spaces in urban planning. Violence over the slavery issue also escalated in 1856 with Bleeding Kansas, a series of bloody clashes between pro-slavery and anti-slavery factions in Kansas territory, showing the failure of popular sovereignty. In 1858, the Lincoln-Douglas debates over slavery brought Abraham Lincoln into another spotlight, shaping political discourse and setting stage for his president run. These events of the mid-1800s were critical in shaping the U.S. on the brink of civil war. A couple points from the textbook was, why did fighting break out in Kansas and what were its effects of that conflict? Fighting broke out in Kansas after the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 allowed settlers to decide the slavery issue through popular sovereignty. Pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers clashed violently in what became known as Bleeding Kansas, escalating sectional tensions foreshadowing the Civil War. Another point would be, what effect did John Brown's raid have on slavery debate? John Brown's raid on Harper Ferry in 1859 aimed to incite a slave rebellion, but it failed, and led to his capture and execution. The raid heightened fears in the South about slave uprisings and intensified debate over slavery in the U.S., full of pride in the nation. That is the 1850s.